I bet you that did it. I'm sorry, guys. I'd rather just start. Now people aren't going to be able to um, have to scroll ahead. Sorry. Can you guys hear me now? I bet you that did it. I'm sorry, guys. I'd rather just start. Now people aren't going to be able to. Can you guys hear me now? Just give me a heads up, please. I just said bugaloo. You guys hear the word bugaloo? I do see messages. Thanks to you. All right, great. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry about that. uh, I'm a writer, not a video producer. Hence my look too. Um, all right, great. So the reason why I'm having this live stream is because I'm getting questions that I get all the time, and they're so good. It's always the same question, and I never get a chance to answer it because it's so good. I want to give it some some thought behind it, like a really deep thought. I'd rather write it out like a story almost. But Chip Chip Cunningham asks, "Hi James, do you have any exercises you can recommend to seat yourself back in your pelvis and detach yourself from the fucked up matrix we exist in, i.e., meditation, etc.?" And I want to try and answer that for you guys. Um, I have to first say that the answer is not inside me. I do not have a secret trick that you guys don't have. There's nothing different about me than about you. I actually think uh, experts are a form of mind control to believe that there's something called an expert, or to believe that there's like a special person out there that, like, you hear someone says, well, I'm an empath. I think all of us are empaths. We're either listening or not. So I want to start by that. But I want to show you where you find prana. And I think it's really important. And if enough people stay online, I'm going to do that. And if you have more questions regarding this energy stuff, please put them in the chat. Maybe type them in all caps. That way I'll know you're sort of directing it at me. And we can go from there. So I hope this topic helps some people. I really, really do. Um, the number one place to collect prana is yourself. Um, what's happening is that every one of you have a giant surplus of prana that builds itself every moment, but you're leaking it. You are constantly in a state of leaking that prana as you go throughout your day. The reason why you're maybe someone's asking me, where do I find prana, is because they just don't understand that that you are the source of prana. You are the most powerful source of prana you actually are going to find on the planet. You are the living soil. You have been given the reasoning and the commission. The land has given you a commission to distribute prana properly to other people. Do you understand? Um, you are the pollen and the bee at the same time. You get to choose where that prana goes. And so if you want more prana, all you have to do is stop dumping it. Stop dumping it every day. To understand where your prana goes, you're going to have to listen to your body. You're going to have to seat yourself really, really deep in your pelvis. Like, really tell yourself the pelvis is a saddle, and you have to sit in it. You can't ride up above it. You have to sit down deep in that saddle. The deeper you sit in that saddle, the more your thighs are going to feel the vibrations of the horse. You're going to be able to communicate what the horse wants and what you want's better. So you're going to have to seat deep inside yourself. Now, it's going to be difficult to seat deep inside yourself for a number of different reasons, many of which are not your fault. Some of them are your fault. Let's start with the ones that aren't your fault. You have a false definition of the word ego. You think ego is evil. Therefore, the moment that your engine room tries to give you ego, you feel like it's toxic and it's bad, and you feel shame for having ego, so you drain it. You open your airlock on your engine core, and the entire warp core that Scotty built up for you is ejected out into space. You need to stop doing that. You need to understand that ego is gasoline. And the more gasoline you have in your tank, the more generous you will be. Some of you have heard this before. I'm sorry for repeating it, but it's just the way it is. Your ego is going to be a direct reflection of the amount of prana you have. Some of you hate the word ego so much you'd rather me call it something else, like charisma. That's fine, but I need you to understand that charisma is how someone else perceives you. And if you're going to call it charisma, you're already outside your body. You're already there. And I need you to get inside your body. I need you to get inside there. What you see as someone who has too much of an ego is actually someone who's starving. They're dying of thirst in front of you. They're so desperate for any kind of attention that they will gut you like a fish. They will spill your gasoline, all 100 gallons, on the ground if they can get a quarter of a tank of that juice inside of them. That's how selfish they've become. It's an act of desperation. When you get on an airplane, they tell you to lower the mask and place it on your mouth first. There's a really important reason for that. It's because if you have oxygen, you're going to make better decisions and you're going to be able to help other people. That's the first step to maintaining prana is I need you to reverse the definition of ego. Some of you are very intellectual and you're going to come in and say, well, that's not really what he means. What he kind of means it this way. No, this is exactly what I mean. Freud told you that you secretly wanted to have sex with your mother or your dad, and that you're a disgusting animal that feeds off of ego. To turn off the heat. um, he's doing that so you'll constantly drain your source. He doesn't want you with gasoline. It wasn't even him. This is what people do who control the education system. They take work of people. For example, Freud and his wife. They take actually some decent work and they twist it around and use it against you. Ego is one of those words, okay? Another word is selfish. You guys are under the impression that being selfless is good, but being selfless is actually the definition of evil. You've evacuated yourself to the machine. This heater's going to cut off a while. If you can't hear me, I'm sorry. It'll stop in a sec. It's very annoying that way. Selfish. When you feel selfish, what you're doing is you're opening the airlock and you're draining all the ego out because someone's told you you need to be selfless. You need to be less of self, okay? Evil is a machine. The machine is a hive. The hive requires you to be evacuated. If you're not evacuated, the machine is not going to be able to send commands to you. It's very similar to being on autopilot. If you step out of the cockpit, the machine is allowed to take over and steer that cockpit for you. It's the electronic AI that has taken over your cockpit and is driving on your behalf. The only way you're going to be able to do that, to let them drive, is if you have zero confidence in who you are or in your ability to drive a car. Okay? That's the entire purpose of this psyop. They're not doing it to be mean. They're doing it to control you. They're doing it to have you let go of your reins and not trust yourself. They've put an attack directly on your gut. They've told you you cannot trust your gut, that you're toxic, that you're evil. All of those things are draining your prana every second. Every second you believe and consent to this system, you are losing prana. But because you can't see prana, you're under the impression it doesn't exist. But I'm going to show you how to see prana. Okay? You have 5 senses that you're aware of. This great awakening that's been happening for 20 years, it's the 6th sense raising its head up inside you. It's a sprout that's poked through the soil of who you are. It's staring up into the starlight for the first time it's ever been there. And it's perceiving the world. And it's so fuzzy, it's so blurry to you that most will dismiss it as being, that's a coincidence. Or that's an interesting, wow, it's so ironic. Let's say things like that. That is someone who just doesn't really believe that that someone would give them a sixth sense. They're already a terrible human. Why would I be given a sixth sense? That sixth sense is empathy. It's telepathy, though. They tell you telepathy is thoughts because if they keep you up in your head, you're no longer in your body. And when you're not in your body, you no longer have the transmission of the heart or the gut to guide your decisions. You're living the entire world in first gear, and you'll stay in first gear, which means the amount of prana you'll build up is going to be barely enough for you to pay your bills and wipe your kid's nose. That's all you're going to have. It's simply all you're going to have. You need to be able to trust your gut again. The more you trust your gut, the more prana you're going to build. Think of it like a butter churner. And as you move your energy up and down your spine, you're processing and building more prana. You are a bellows to the soil. As you breathe in and out, you will breathe in more prana and it will stay. Why? Because it will feel like it belongs there to you. It will feel like this is your property. It will feel like, hey, I gave it to this guy and he's not throwing it away. He's saying, yes, I will take this power. That's how you're going to build more prana. As you build up more prana, people are going to be attracted to you and they're going to be confused. Some of them are going to think it's like a sexual attraction and they're going to find out the hard way it's not. You're going to find out that it's not too. People are confused by energy right now. All they think that anytime prana raises in the body, people tend to think that it has to be sexual oriented because it's the only reason why they would do that. Most men think that if they have an erection, it's purely because there's a sexual thing happening, and it's just simply not the case. There's a massive, massive engine inside you, and it is capable of doing things that they've told you not to do, things that you cannot do. It's just the same thing as whispering into the ears of a wild horse. You're not that great. You're not that amazing. There's no way you could survive out there without my help. That's how you kill prana in somebody. So the way to gather prana is to be yourself, to seat down deep, deep, deep inside yourself. How do you do that? Some of you may want to find meditation to do that. I'm not saying no. I'm just telling you James True doesn't do that. That's all. Maybe if I was to do it, I would be like that much more prana filled. But I don't get it that way. I get my prana by simply trying to seat myself in my pelvis as deeply and as efficiently as I can all the time. Now, this is going to require you to start to look for evidence of being embarrassed and ashamed. When you feel shame, if you could see your energy body, what you would actually see is that you've punctured your kidney, your energetic kidney, and you are leaking energy on the floor as you walk. You are a walking bag of birdseed that's been stabbed in the bottom, and you're leaving a trail. As you leave that trail, other birds, not very nice birds, will develop a fetish for you. They will follow you. They will tell you how great you are. And it's only because you're dropping seed. Not only are you dropping seed, but you don't give a shit. You don't even think that it matters. And that makes you not only an easy target, you're actually enabling evil around you. You're telling everyone else, hey, don't worry about your own prana. I will give you prana now. Just follow me wherever you go, and you'll notice I'm dropping it all the fucking time. Our world is a competition right now. What Right now, what we call the world is a competition in who can drain each other the most in public. You hear things like cultural appropriation. It's a perfect example of that. It's basically saying, I would like to hate myself more. What kind of wardrobe decisions should I make or not make to avoid or find ways to hate myself even more? We've built an entire culture off this, of finding ways to gut each other deeper. The person who guts themselves the most ends up winning the most virtue. That's what happens when you have inversion. Now, I want you to understand where that virtue comes from. Virtue signaling is the collection of your prana by an outside force, and he's gifting it back to some of you based on your performance. This is a tax in magic. Okay. Um, you are powerful, but if you do not believe that you're powerful, someone else can give you power. And what they're really doing is they're taking all that power of you not believing it. Remember, I told you shame is actual you dumping prana? They're taking that prana and they're twisting it with voodoo and they're giving a little bit of it back to you. It's a heavy, heavy commission to get that same prana back. This is what medicine is right now. This is why the placebo effect will prove to you in a clinical lab that a pill that's white is not as effective as a two-tone pill with a stamp that has a logo that's administered by a 50-year-old man versus a 20-year-old woman. It's showing you how the voodoo works, that the zeitgeist has already established a level of expertise and that you're allowed to believe that level from them and therefore be rewarded with your own energy if you agree to a certain structure, if you agree to a certain hierarchy. You actually already have that power inside yourself, but you bequeathed it to someone else, and you've only done that because you know you're going to get some of it back. You just haven't seen the transaction. The prana economy is invisible between you and the medical profession. It's invisible because from the time you're two, from the time you knew what a television was, someone on TV was telling you that the only way to get healthy is to buy this shiny, glossy box and open it up. It's the same reason why if you walk into a health food store and you try and buy a plant inside of a plastic jar, you will read a warning label that says, the FDA says this is not medicine. That's all it takes. If you're tapped into the zeitgeist, that's all it takes. And what you're doing is if you buy that plant, you're automatically taking 80% of the prana that's inside and you're sending it back to the pharmaceutical company. And if you do that, they're going to give you back 12% of it. They're going to go, here you go. Here's your 12% now. Now you can use this to heal. This is the definition of ibuprofen. This is the definition of most pharmaceuticals that you take right now. Mostly what you're taking is you're purchasing the option of having permission to heal yourself in front of everyone else. You've paid the fee to the hive, and the hive is now allowing you to heal yourself. You guys following me? Make sure you guys can hear me okay. As you start to collect more prana, some tricky things are going to happen. My dog, Wiley, this awesome, amazing dog right here. He's like 16. He's old as fuck, and he developed a giant growth under his throat. It was so bad I thought I was going to lose him. I took him to the vet. The vet put him on antibiotics. Nothing worked. It just stayed there. I took him back to the vet. He put him on another set of antibiotics. It never once occurred to me, and I've been to this same vet for years, it never once occurred to me that it was because of where I've gone in my own life, with my belief system, with my understanding of the zeitgeist, that I was actually stopping my dog from healing. I thought that my dog was going to die. So did the vet. He had said it's cancer. He told it was the worst possible thing that he'd ever seen and that there's nothing he could do. I woke up and my dog had like this giant, gross discharge all over the bed. And that was like 2, 3 months ago. Remember that, Wiley? He's fine. He's fine. It's because of my belief. I didn't have investment in those antibiotics. And because I didn't have that investment in the antibiotics, when I put the antibiotic down his throat, he bequeathed his prana and belief to me because I'm his master or whatever you want to call it. And I bequeathed my belief in prana to the vet because he was my master. Okay? But all that prana economy was broken. That entire exchange was broken now because I'm a different person. I'm living in a different sort of way. And it didn't work. My dog healed himself. I don't know how he did it because I'm still learning how this magic works. I'm still learning how this energy works. Please hear me. I'm not trying to say this is easy or simple. I'm not. We all have this work to do, and we have just mountains and mountains of bullshit placed on top of us that's stopping us from learning these things. But I know this is how it works. I've seen it. I've seen how blind people are and how they're still able to ink out certain kinds of prana to get what they want, while other people who don't accept that are just overwhelmed with it. If you've ever been on a festival tour, if you've ever been on tour at any kind of a festival at all, you'll notice that there's like an inner group of festival goers that are somehow allowed to travel all over the world, like from place to place to place to place. Maybe they're following the band or something, like pick your favorite jam band or something. You'll see that there's this core group of people that are able just to go and go and go. And you need to understand that what they're doing is they are riding the prana of the entire group mind of that band. It's able to loft them up, and they're able to afford the gas, to afford the plane tickets, whatever it takes. They're able to stay in that vibe. They're able to stay inside that presence. So much magic is usually released at a festival because it's human. It's surrounded by humans, and they're in such a small, tight area that energy collects. And it's always going to collect around a central antenna. With a band, that central antenna is going to be the stage. It's going to be the people on the stage, but it's going to offshoot. There's going to be a lot of overflow. That overflow is something that can be tapped into by you. This overflow is all around you. It's in politics. It's in sports. You can ask a professional soccer player. He will swear to you. He gets 200% better when people are cheering for him. This is a tangible, scientific thing. This is why so many top elite athletes focus so much on the mind. They're not focusing on their technique. They're focusing on their mental clarity. They're using belief as a laser, as a special engine. And that belief runs the entire world. And if you don't believe me, I want to remind you people of something. As Richie from Boston said, they shut down this entire world with words. If you understand what a word is, all it is a vibration. All it is an oscillation. Your prana right now is going to be affected by your oscillation. The energy that you send out is going to come in either slow waves, right? Or it's going to come really fast. Like a panic. That's a panic prana. And if you see that, if you sense that from me, I'm going to be pacing you to consider going that way with me. The same as if I was to be nice and calm, fully seated in who I am, you guys might even start to admire me. Some of you might say, wow, that's a hell of a man, James. Some of you might, my point is, I'm not trying to sound, I'm just trying to say you guys didn't know me before I had prana. So you don't understand how different people treat me now. Then I'm just seated deeper. Once I was able to see this, once I was able to break through this mind control, it's not mind control, it's belief control. It's plasma control. That's why they tell you special relativity exists. They need you to believe in a vacuum of space. Because what happens if you open the airlock on your warp core? It's instantly sucked out into the vacuum. It comes pouring out and it's gone forever. If you didn't believe in a vacuum, it wouldn't do that. It would stay around you. But as long as you have this vacuum in your mind, it has somewhere to go. It's an endless black hole out there. That's the whole purpose of special relativity. It's a black magic spell. That's why if you ask any mathematician to explain special relativity to you, 99% of them are going to go, I don't know, it's not my field. They just don't understand it, but they can't admit they understand it. They don't understand it. Why? Because they built their life on credentials, not humanity. I need to explain this part. It might not sound like prana, but I swear it is. We live in a world of credentials, not people. As a veteran of the Navy, if I was to go to a base I was just in Virginia the other season or something. I stopped in Virginia and I was trying to find a Starbucks. I would never go on a base, but it accidentally took me to a base and I wanted a cup of coffee. I was traveling through. And I went up to the gate and I said, "Yeah, I'm a veteran. I was going to get some coffee at Starbucks." And he goes, "Well, where's your ID?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have an ID." So I wasn't a veteran. Veterans don't have benefits, okay? Credentials have benefits. I need you to see how crucially different those two things are. The veteran would have given my credentials respect, not me. It was the credentials that are allowed to get in base. What is a credential but a laminated spell on paper? It's a simple spell that says, whoever holds this card is hereby bequeathed to certain benefits. This is why they need things big. This is why they need a one world government. Because if you were to stay decentralized, if we were to have a military, a militia that was 100 people, the person on guard would never need to see your paper. You, the human, would be the credential, which means the respect and prana he pays you would go directly into your body. It would not go through an insignia on your chest. It would not go through a laminated card that says that you're a member of something. The prana wouldn't go here. It would go to you. But as long as you have that card, you'll never ever get prana. It's going to be fed back to you the same way. It's, yeah, let's give 99% of it here. And because you're the one that actually held the card, we're going to give you an 11% commission. Here you go. Nice job. And because you're so desperate for it, because we live in a world that's been told none of us should have it, you're going to take it. You're going to jump all over it. And not only that, if you're getting 11% commission now, what do you think is going to happen if they say, I'll give you a 14% commission if you do this, and a 17% commission if you do this? You begin a feeding frenzy for your own energy. And the only way you can compete is by dumping your core. You would have to dump your core first. This is why I keep telling people there's no such thing as a good person in Washington, D.C. It's spiritually, energetically not possible. Because to even go in, to even be indoctrinated in that, is going to take a complete core dump. And the second you start to gather that prana illegally, meaning outside of their rules, is the second you become the enemy. This is happening all around you. People that swear that Trump was Hitler 3 months ago are on Hitler's side before yours right now. Why? Because you're not participating in that same pranic energy. You're starting to see through these things. That's what makes you an outcast. That's what makes you a conspiracy theorist or whatever it is you want to call it. This is all about energy. I need you to stop listening to words. Words are going to just confuse you. They're going to send you on massive goose chases. I need you to just look at energy. When you're having a conversation with someone, your body is telling you exactly what's happening every moment in your energy. You might notice that you're saying, uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. And what that is someone else punching you in the stomach and collecting the energy that falls out of your mouth. Just go. And you don't even know it because you've been told you have to be polite. You've been told all these different things about energy, and you feel like the only nice thing to do is just to keep saying, uh-huh, uh-huh. And that person could be your boss, it could be your coworker, it could be your spouse, it could be your neighbor. You're surrounded by them. You're surrounded by cannibals, pranic cannibals. This system breeds cannibals. You know that because they're always competing to be the lesser of two evils. No one's competing to be good. They're competing to be the lesser of evil. And that is a race to the bottom, my friends. It's like a Mach 41 race right into the earth as fast as you can get. Which one of us can smash the hardest first? You're never going to collect prana that way. You need to look at those words again. Ego, it's a good word. Pride is a good word. Pride is a good word. I just saw one of you was like, oh, no, pride. No, pride is a good word. You listen to me. Pride is a good word. They're telling you reputation is good, but pride is bad. And where do you get reputation? But from the outside. Where do you get pride? But from the inside. This is how they turn you inside out. And when they turn you inside out, where are you going to put that prana? What pocket are you going to keep that prana in? Where is Scotty going to keep that warp core if you're turned inside out? Pride is a vessel of prana. And if you do not have pride, you're never going to tell the truth. There's no reason to. There's no penalty to lying if you think pride's a bad word. So those are two massive holes right there that you can stop your prana collecting in: ego and pride. The next time you're having a conversation and you hear someone shit on ego, see if you can find the courage to say something about it. To say, I don't know if ego is really that bad. I've been thinking about it. And the first time you try and say that, it's going to feel, whoa, that was weird. Some of you are not going to be able to say it. And you're still winning because you thought of it. So even if you can just think of that, if someone bashes the ego, if you could just think, yeah, that's bullshit. Like, I get what he's saying, but actually I can't accept that because he's bashing the ego. Why would I want him to bash the ego in front of me? And if I go, am I not just telling my ego, yeah, this is how I feel about you too? It's like you're ashamed of hanging out with someone that's really important to you in public. So if someone else is insulting him, you're just going to go, yeah, total dick. Hate him. Hate the ego. Such an asshole, I know. Always wanting shit and always entitled, like, oh, I want to live, I want to help you. Bullshit like that. You need to start being honest with yourself in public. And that's the hardest thing to do. The more you can, it's actually a gift. Because if you're sitting at home alone, I can't have a discussion with Wiley over here and get him to say ego is bad, and then I correct him. Wiley's never going to say that. Wiley loves ego. He's all about it. It's what made him heal himself. So when someone else is bashing the ego, don't feel bad. Realize that you now have a golden opportunity to work on your magic. Imagine that as you go through your day, you are hunting prana. You are the hunter or gatherer, whichever one you want to be. You are looking for that magical pheasant out there in the woods. And you're walking through work and someone goes, yeah, that guy's got a shitty ego. Boom. You're like, whoa, did I just see that red pheasant? And you're going to stop. And if that's all you do, you've already won. You've already won, because the second you do that, your crew's like, wow, Captain just noticed something really big. That's freaking huge. Even noticing it is going to help you tremendously. So start small, build your way up, notice. That's the first part. Become conscious of it, right? And then bring it to fruition. Because here's what's powerful. If you defend your ego in front of a witness, doesn't matter who it is, if you defend your ego in front of a witness, all of your crew, all of the 3 trillion blood cells in your body that makes prana, watch that, and they are invigorated like madness. They are so invigorated. I want you to imagine that you and your loved one have been in this relationship where no matter where you go in public, someone insults your loved one and you agree with them. I know that's hard, but imagine that, because that's literally what's happening. Now imagine after 4 or 5 years, someone does that and you stop. And you go, hey, I love this person. Let's not talk about them that way. No, I don't want to hear it. I hear you that you think this way, but I don't. That's all. And it's something I'm working on recently. I've just been thinking a lot about ego. I've been wondering about how I feel and about how the life works. And I don't understand why we have to go there. It doesn't seem healthy to me to bash ourselves like that. And you don't have to win the argument. You're not even talking to that person. You're talking to your loved one that's been abandoned your entire life. And they're like, wow, You just you just offended me. And you just made a bond, a deep, deep bond. And imagine yourself trying to get in the cockpit and it's full of mail. You've collected all this junk mail and it's just, your seat is just full of the fucking mail because you won't take it inside. You hate the mailbox anyway. You hate this whole process of having to collect the mail and go home and read it. It's always just been this thing. So you've kept it in the seat. And that's why you've never been able to sit down fully. And the moment you say, hey, I don't want to bash the ego right now, what you're really doing is you're clearing off the seat. You're going to be able to sit down again. You're going to be able to sit down so deep, you might even be able to put your seatbelt on. And when you got the seatbelt on, you're going to be doing loop to loops again. You know, you'll be spinning the plane around, all kinds of stuff. You need to be comfortable sitting down. You're never going to be comfortable sitting down if you're hating your co-pilot. If you're talking shit about your own crew in front of other people. Just that alone is going to help you so much with your prana. It's going to help so much. And it's going to be hard because the people you're around the most are going to fight you the most for doing this because they're addicted to your behavior. And the moment you start to change your behavior, you become a threat to them. Their reptilian core goes, why are you now defending your ego? They're going to hate you for it. I lived in Asheville. It's a very, very kind of new age hippie town. And it has a spell cast over it where everyone tells each other how shitty they are. And whoever wins gets a free beer. That's how the entire town works. And since I came out with my walking, with my writing, not one person, except for Flower, hi Flower, not one person has backed me up on this. Not one person has reached out and say, wow, totally. Why? Because I violated my contract with them. The prana economy I set with all those people I violated because now I'm no longer playing by those same rules. And they hate that. It destroys their entire game. So it's going to be a lot harder for you to do that in front of people that have known you the longest. You're going to find that you're going to have much better luck doing this to strangers. I'm not saying abandon your friends. I'm saying that understand that you are in the dojo now. And the dojo is going to hurt. Why? Because the sparring partner wants you to be good. He's not going to help you by pretending to punch you. He's going to hit you every day as hard as he wants to until you learn how to get up and defend yourself. These are blessings. This entire cursed world is a blessing. It's a playground for you to understand and use energy, to use this magic. I call it magic, and some people don't like that. I don't give a shit. It's plasma, prana, magic. This is the electrical field from your body, and it's completely aimed from your belief system, what you believe in. If you believe in an orchid, that orchid, even though it's sprouted 6 times already and bloomed, it's gonna do it again because you believe in it. It feels that energy. It understands there's someone there believing in it. Now imagine if you felt the way you feel about your plants or your animals. Imagine if you felt that way about yourself. Yeah. Imagine you felt that way about who you are, your deep, deep core. Imagine if you understood how much you really wanted to see yourself grow and blossom and bloom. Because that's all it takes. All the prana's there. You're never going to be desperate for it. You're never going to be wondering where you can get more. It's just simply going to be who you are. And other people are going to see that, and it's going to feed you even more. Other people are going to get mad. They're going to come in, they're going to try and I'm going to cut this prana thing open and have all the candy come out like a piñata. There's definitely going to be people out there. That's your dojo. And when they do that, you're not going to get mad because you have enough ego that you can be generous. If you have zero ego, it's going to feel like it hurt. If your tank's full, and someone's able to stick their straw in there and suck out a cup of it, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. You're going to be able to go, let's close that lid. No more gas for you. You're fine to do that because you're generous. You have enough of that. These insults are going to start to feel like ping pong balls off a concrete brick wall. And it's all going to be because of your own prana, because of your own generosity. Now, prana is a two-way resonance. That means there's not a finite amount of prana out there, and all of us have to compete for it. It's not how it works, okay? If that was the case, anyone that owned a tuning fork would be competing with everyone else in the world for that tuning fork so that there's the one that's vibrating. It doesn't work that way. I can walk in with an A sharp into a tuning fork store and strike it on the ground. And if there are 1,000 tuning forks in there, all tuned to A sharp, they will all vibrate. They're not going to look at each other going, oh, there's not enough to go around. We're going to have to gut some of y'all. You need to start talking shit about y'all, figure out who's going to earn the most prana this week. How about we all call ourselves dickholes, and whichever one does it the best, we'll let him ring. That's how they do it. That's how this system does it. But nature doesn't work that way. Nature is resonance. Your prana is a resonance. It's not a finite. If anything, it's a propagation of everyone else. When you feel happy, when you feel joy, you are in the good. You are vibrating in that resonance, which means prana is collecting all around you. You are the bee's knees. And you're covered in sticky prana. And it just keeps coming. No matter where you fly, you're just, oh, here's some more. Here's some more. Man, my legs are thick. Wow. That's how it works. That's why they try and gut the ones that have the most. It's telling me my internet connection is unstable. All right. So I talked about ego. I talked about pride. There's one more. Ignorance. People think ignorance is a bad word. It's not. Ignorance is a vessel. Ignorance is an empty bowl placed on a table. It's your offering. You're offering something that can be filled up. You're saying, hi, friend. I am ignorant about the subject you just mentioned. Could you educate me? And it's the most generous gift you could ever give somebody is your ignorance. You're taking off your shirt and your pants in front of them and you're saying, hi, could you come into the changing room with me and tell me how fat these jeans make me look? And when you do that, that person's like, yeah, let's go. And you look fucking great in those jeans. Why? Because you were that generous with your prana that you're going to glow. It doesn't matter how bad you think your ass looks. You're going to be glowing because they saw that rawness in you. They saw that vulnerability in you. And it's the most beautiful gift you can give somebody is that ignorance. It's like walking up to a house with a glass and saying, hi there, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm thirsty. I have this glass. Could I have some water? They give you water for the next 3 or 4 days. That person that gave you water is high as a kite. They don't even know it. And the prana exchange is wireless. 4 years later, you could remember that person. I remember when I needed that water. And that old lady, she wasn't scared of me. She opened the door, man. She hooked me up. That moment, 4 years later, you're sending prana to her wirelessly. And she's out working in her yard. She doesn't even know. And all of a sudden, she feels good. And if she's not fully seated into her body, she's not going to know what it's for. If she's fully seated in her body, she's going to go, I haven't thought about that guy in a while. There's that guy that came by with that water. Yeah, that was a nice thing to do. I don't know why I trusted him. Normally I wouldn't do that, but I did. That's wireless prana. And it works this way across the board. Some of you heard this analogy, sorry, but I'm going to tell you it again. You're in high school. You're a basketball player. You're dating the cheerleader, or she's in the stands. All the kids are there. Your parents are there. Everyone's there. It's a championship game. You guys are down 2 points. You're running out. The clock's running out. You are all the way on the defensive side. You're all the way there. There's 3 seconds left. And you fucking launch that ball. You launch it. And it fucking swishes. It swishes right in there. That is a pranic jackpot. Not only are you fed the moment that happens, the rest of your life, you are being fed by that prana. Every single person in that room that had that inspiration, that were like, oh, what's it gonna do? What they're doing is that they're putting all their chips into a giant pot. And they're like, okay, here comes all the, I don't know who's gonna get it. I don't know who's gonna get this prana. This is gonna be interesting. And they're going to keep pouring it because it's so exciting. It's making them feel alive, right? And because they're alive, they're generating more. So all the Scotties generating inside their engines are going, oh, getting you all I got, Captain, giving you all I got. And the captain sees it and it swishes. And they're like, I give the prana to him. Holy shit. That guy gets the prana. And that guy for the rest of his life, man, it doesn't matter where he goes. Someone is remembering what happened. Someone is remembering that shot, and they're just blown away by the miracle of it all. And they're paying you in prana. Whether it be the teachers, whether it be the person that lost the game, they're giving you prana too. When you go to the high school reunion, everyone in the room is automatically giving you prana because they remember that moment. Even if it's subconscious, they remember it. Every moment you have is an opportunity to triple, quadruple, gazillion duple your prana through resonance. No one is getting taxed. Don't worry. It's a resonance. You can watch someone do something amazing at Surreal Circus, and then 3 seconds later watch someone else do something amazing at Surreal Circus. You can watch both of them do something amazing. It's not like one of them is no longer amazing. They can both be just as amazing. This is not a selfish act to collect prana. All you're doing is simply sounding out what's already there. You're just simply tapping into what's already there. So there's no competition. If you give someone prana, you don't have less prana. That's not how it works. But you have to be careful where that goes. I want you to imagine that it's high school and you're in the drama club. But because you're like me and you wanted too much attention, they didn't give you a part. They're like, well, we're not going to give Jimmy a part. He's just way overactor. I was a very big overactor when I was young because I didn't have enough ego. I was desperate for it. So even though I probably could have acted, they're like, no, we're not letting him on stage. He will start improvising, and this will not be Romeo and Juliet. He will turn this into a weird cooking show on stage. No Jimmy on stage. So they put you in the back, and now you're in charge of the light, the spotlight, right? And that's your job. You have to aim the spotlight. That's your prana. That spotlight is on 24 hours a day. You cannot turn it off, guys. You can't. And wherever that spotlight goes, that's what grows. Now, you're going to give your spotlight to a government that bombs another nation every 1.29 years. Is that who you want to have it? Are you going to give it to a system of Zionism, which tells you that you're born broken, that you're born unsanitary, dirty, and disgusting, and that if you follow the rules hard enough, maybe after you die, maybe we might let you not suffer an eternal burning hell? Is that where you want to have your prana? Do you want to give your prana to someone that has no knowledge at all of how a vaccine works, but will talk shit about you for questioning maybe what's inside? Is that who you want to have your prana? Do you want to give your prana where 250 million people have to choose between red and blue, between one of two people. No. Take that spotlight and aim it wherever you want. I'm not going to tell you where to aim it. That's your job. But become responsible for where it goes. Withdraw your consent from the places it doesn't belong. There is no contract that is ever enforceable under God's eyes that says you have to sign this contract forever. It doesn't work that way. Because your contracts, your true contracts, are your belief, your consent. If you imagine yourself getting up, the moment you get up, as soon as you wake up, you're automatically giving society prana. You're like, I believe in society. I believe in taxes. I believe in mortgage. I believe in compound interest. I believe in vaccines. I believe that the key for me being free is we have to kill foreigners all over the other place, even though I have no idea who they are and I've never heard their name. I believe in MSM. I believe in CNN. And at the end of the day, you're broke. You ain't got shit. You're not raising your kids. You don't even get to teach them. You didn't raise your house. You didn't raise your barn. You didn't raise your neighbor's barn. You didn't even raise your kids. You didn't raise your food. You did nothing. All you did was give prana to some machine. And they digitized it for you to make it easier. They put it on money. And now they're going to put it on blockchain. And all your prana is going to be locked inside a blockchain. It's time to awaken right now. And that's why I'm giving this talk. I need you guys to be badasses. I need you to be fully charged. So many of you already are. More than me, by the way. I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm more charged than you. I'm not. No idea. All I know is when I see you charged, it makes me charged. So I'm doing this for selfish reasons. Haha. I'm doing this for my own prana. Anyway, I think I'm going to go. I got an hour here. I got an important show to do tonight. And maybe I'll do more of these as we go. This stuff's important, and I hope it's making sense to you guys. I want to go into another topic, but I'm thinking I'll save it. I think it'll be a good maybe part 2 or something if you guys are into this. So, ego. Maybe write this down. Ego, right? Pride, and ignorance. That's your homework. If people want homework, that's it. As you go out through the day, find opportunities to claim all of those. Claim ego, claim pride, claim ignorance. Those are massive power centers. All right? All right, thanks, guys.